Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Alyssa Threadgill, and I am here with Black Women in Radio to teach you how to conduct and host your own coffee chat. So I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation to share with you all of my knowledge about this and how you can put your best foot forward in advancing your career. So give me one moment to share my screen. Okay, wonderful. So I have created this presentation as I believe it will be very helpful to you in creating this relationship and connection with a professional, whether you're in media or any other sort of field. There is a way you can convert this to your needs. So I've created this PowerPoint, so let's get into it. So in this tutorial, you will learn how to initiate, prepare, and conduct your very own coffee chat as a way to advance your career. And I wanted you to focus on these three key words as we go along, as they are very important to understand. So first we have a coffee chat. So coffee chat is an informal interview in which a person talks with a person of influence in order to gain valuable knowledge in pursuit of their career. And the second word is networking. So, networking is the action or process of interacting with people in order to develop professional or social contacts. This is super important because without networking, you wouldn't be able to find someone to talk to. So, knowing how to network and being able to make the right connections with people is going to be very important in having a coffee chat. So next we have the elevator pitch. So an elevator pitch is a 30-second introduction of oneself as a way to make a connection with another person. This is typically about 1 to 2 highlights about your career ambitions, successes, anything you want to share about yourself that you think would make you an attractive candidate for any sort of position. Moving right along, so we have 3 objectives for a coffee chat. The first is to network with industry professionals. This is to make pivotal connections early on to help you establish your presence in your field. Knowing the right people is key in any field. So making these connections early on is really going to help you when you're finishing school or finishing any sort of education. It'll help you to know people when you're in a position when you're applying for jobs. So the next thing that's important is to practice your interview skills. So learning how to ask thought-provoking questions as well as gain confidence when you're answering these tough questions yourself. So we're going to go over different questions that you can ask the person that you're hoping to speak with, but also I want you to be able to prepare answers yourself so that you can start thinking critically and how you really want to make an impact in your field and how you want to make an impression on the person you're talking to. So the last thing is to gain knowledge. So hearing from an experienced professional in your field can help you gain perspective and knowledge as you work toward your career. And I think that's important overall. So the coffee chat. So I have created 4 steps for creating a coffee chat. So first, you want to connect with someone. I'm going to teach you how to network and find the right person to talk with. Second is to reach out to this person to schedule. So if you meet someone at an event and maybe it's a few months later, I will be teaching you how to request a chat and plan a meeting and kind of, reintroduce yourself and make that impression. Next, we're going to do brainstorming. So you have to brainstorm questions to ask this person and decide which questions will be most beneficial to your career. And lastly, we will talk about how to conduct yourself in a conversation. So how to feel prepared and confident when speaking with a professional is going to be key, and it'll give you more confidence as you apply to different positions later on or other jobs as the opportunities present themselves. Okay, so first, how to network and make a connection. So if you want to connect with a person, you can do a lot of different things. You can attend networking events. There's pretty much a networking event at my school every other week. And there's also opportunities in the public in whatever city you might be near if you're in college. There's a lot of opportunities to network with professionals because a lot of people want to share their expertise, and you never know who could be at a networking opportunity because there a lot of recruiters go to these and they're looking to hire people, especially people who are older in college who are getting ready to graduate, because people want young employees so that they can stay for a long amount of time. So you can do that. You can also actually connect with them on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. It's very easy to get in touch with people, especially people maybe you look up to, people that are doing the jobs that you want to do. It's really good to connect with those people because they will know the most about that position because they're in it and they're living it. So if you're not on LinkedIn already, I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend that you search people that are doing your jobs on LinkedIn because 9 times out of 10 they're going to be on there and they've probably been on there for a while. So next, follow them with social media. I say this very, very lightly, depending on what field you're in. I'm in a media field, so most media professionals are on social media because a lot of media companies encourage it. So if you're comfortable following them on social media, definitely do that. Definitely make sure that your social media is clean and professional if you're going to do this because you don't want any media professionals seeing you at a party with your friends. That might not be the best impression. So make sure that your social media is clean and nice, and you can follow them and maybe send them a DM if you're interested in talking to them, but only do this if you can't find them on LinkedIn or any kind of email address. Email addresses are awesome because it breaks that barrier and it's not as intrusive as social media sometimes. So if you're more comfortable doing that, I would recommend that. And when you're sending these messages, whether it's a DM, an email, or even like a LinkedIn connection request, you're gonna want to send a formal message introducing yourself and kindly asking to schedule a brief chat with them. Be sure to mention that it's brief because a lot of people are really super busy, so you're not gonna want to take up too much of their time. And another thing that I want to add is that don't be discouraged if someone declines your request or just never responds at all. Um, I have had this happen to me many times, but it's important to remember that the right person will take the time to talk with you and that they won't hesitate. They'll want to help you. So if you find people, either they don't want to talk to you at all or they just don't respond, move on. Definitely make a list of like maybe 5 to 10 people that you would want to talk to with the off chance that someone might not respond. And that's totally okay. It's totally okay. Okay. So what does this look like? So for a traditional in-person coffee chat, it is customary to offer to treat your guests to a coffee in exchange for their time. But if you're going to do this online, a guest is invited to make a coffee or another comforting drink at home to enjoy during the meeting. And the idea is that both guests feel comfortable and relaxed in a setting that is usually stressful. Interviews are stressful, they're not fun. But if you have a coffee chat, it's a little more casual and you can relax and just have a nice conversation with someone. Okay, brainstorm your burning questions. So, asking and brainstorming questions to ask a media professional or any professional for that matter might be the hardest part of your preparation. And it's really important to remember why you want to network with this person. Like, what are they doing in their career that inspires you? What skills do you possess that this person would value in their workplace? What do you want to do after college? Really be solidified in your idea of what post college life looks like for you. It's different for everybody. So definitely really take the time to think about that because they will most likely ask you what your dream positions are and you're going to want to know. So, what does what impression do you want to make on this person too? Think about that in your responses and you want to come off as professional as possible. Even if you're nervous, that's totally okay too. Just remember that this is a really important conversation because you never know what opportunities could arise after you make this connection. And I also want to mention, does this person have a say in the hiring process at a company that you really want to work at? Are they able to have some leeway? Are they able to call their boss and say, hey, I just talked to this person and I think they would be really great for this open position that we have? Or maybe an entry level position that we're kind of starting this year, different things like that. So always be open to different opportunities to talk to someone who's actually hiring, but it's also good to talk to employees too, because you never know how they could help. Okay, so handling the tough questions. So asking open-ended questions are key to getting an in-depth and thoughtful response. And I said that I'm going to talk about the questions in a second. When I said such as these, I will get to them in a second. You want to prepare your own responses to these questions too. So I have in the next slide, I have a list of questions that I think would be really great for anybody who's doing this type of conversation. But you want to have your own responses to these questions because you never know. And I've had this happen to me a few times. You never know when the person you're talking to wants to pick your brain and give you an opportunity to share your perspective. Because if you have an answer ready to go, that's impressive and that's going to make you stand out to this person. So don't be afraid if you don't know the answer to. I came up with this. I've run into this and I always needed a go-to phrase. So this is my go-to phrase. You can say, I'm not sure if I've established a mindset regarding this topic, and that could be whatever topic you're struggling to answer the question for. But I'm actively working to develop one. So that shows that you're motivated to grow and improve yourself. And aside from the fact that you're still learning, you haven't had a full-time job yet in this field. So it's okay not to know everything. And that's the whole point of a job or an internship is that you're going to learn as you go on at this position. So it's always okay not to know things. There's people that have been working for years that get tripped up sometimes, and that's just part of life. So it's totally okay not to know everything, but really try your best to prepare some responses. Okay, so here are my questions. So these are some open-ended questions that I think anybody could answer that's been working in their field for a decent amount of time. So I will go through them. So what is a technical skill that you've learned through your current position, and how much do you think you have grown since the early days of your career? People like to talk about themselves, and people will also tell, I'm sure there will be many people that will tell you, oh, my first year of work was really hard because there's a lot I didn't know, but I grew from it and I learned. I'm sure a lot of people could say that. But this is a good question because there's technical skills for everything. So be open to this question. What inspires you to continue working on your craft and improving your skills as a professional? How do you think how did you get started and how much has your perspective changed on the industry since then? How has social media changed your field and how has it made things harder, easier? That's great for people who are veterans at their companies or have been there for 10 plus years and have seen all the changes in the world and social media. So that's a good question for a lot of people, I think. Um, Although it is important to have a proactive and hardworking career, how do you incorporate self care into your routine? This is a good question, especially for people that are hiring. It would be nice to know if company culture incorporates paid days off, a decent amount of vacation days, things like that, if they care about the mental health and well-being of their employees. That's really important to me when I go to work because I tend to get very burnt out and I tend to need breaks every so often, like most people. So make sure that they prioritize that. That's very important because you don't want to be working yourself to death if you're not being able to take care of yourself in the time that you're not in the office or in the studio or whatever it may be. So is it ever hard to stop working or make time for yourself? That's important too. And make sure you have a response for this too, because they want to know that you have work life balance or at least attempting to have one. And then lastly, why do you think your area of expertise is important and how do you think it best amplifies your talents? I think this is a really good question too. Okay. Final thoughts. Final thoughts. So it's important to be yourself and share your passions with this person you're talking to because you don't know how they might be able to relate to what you're saying or if they'll just resonate with it and say, hey, this is a really good person. I'm going to tell somebody about her that might be able to help her get a job. You never know what they could say. So be open to everything and just really be authentic and don't be nervous. The person you're speaking with has likely been in your shoes before. And I almost guarantee that they've been in your shoes before because everybody has to start somewhere. And yeah, be transparent and authentic because the more you're yourself and that you share your passions and your ideas, the more natural and relaxed you're going to come off as. And that's a really good sign. Okay, so you did it. Relax and have a great coffee chat. And yeah, this has been a wonderful tutorial. I think you should be more than prepared to reach out to somebody and feel confident in doing so. So, yes, so thank you to Black Women in Radio for giving me a platform to teach today, and I hope you learned something. All right, thank you very much. That's all I got. Thank you.